Hey guys, Verso here, bringing you another of my weekly battle report. This is going to be the first of two that I'm going to try to throw up today, but we'll see how that goes. So for this game, I'm going to be playing my good old Tohaa against some vanilla Nomads. So going against one of my more regular opponents, Dylan, who pretty much started the game around the same time I did. Played him a few times, and we have pretty regular games as we're both just trying to improve and stuff like that. I am trying to get more acquainted with the missions for the tournament that I'm going to in March, which is Rumble on Route 66, one of the bigger tournaments in the United States in the year for Infinity. So I will be there, and some of the missions I'm more familiar with, some of them I am not. The three that I'm most worried about are Decapitation, Supplies, and Unmasking. All for different reasons. Decapitation, just trying to get more of a feel for the mission. I don't think it's a particularly good or bad mission. It's just kind of a vanilla direct action mission with a little bit of a twist. Unmasking is incredibly complex because of all the mind games you can do and things like that. Positioning is extremely important in that one, so that's what we're focusing on there. And then for supplies, that's just an awful mission that really shouldn't be in a competitive event, but I have to deal with it. So just making sure I have a good plan of action going first or going second. Going second is definitely the more major worry there. So I'm going to go ahead and preface this battle report that this game is a little bit one-sided. So what I did when I did a write-up of it, if you're not familiar, I do write-ups of all my games, and then I do videos of some of them, is that I went really in-depth on Dylan's perspective. So Dylan's side of the match is what I was more interested in, because I kind of knew the few things that I needed to change about my side, but getting a little bit analytical as I am wont to do, I wanted to dive in on his side and kind of figure out where things turned or what could have been changed, done differently, all that kind of stuff. So that's a lot of what I'll talk about in the post game video. So if you're interested in that, definitely take a look at that. Sorry, there's a cat trying to get in the way. But I'm just going to go through the bare bones of the battle report and all that kind of stuff for the normal video as per usual. But I just wanted to throw a disclaimer out there that the game is a little one-sided. So if that's not really to your liking, then hey, feel free to skip this one. Maybe not the best idea to make that announcement before a video, but I just do these for fun. So I'm not interested in anybody watching the whole thing just because I'm going to get money or something like that. This is just something I do for fun. So with that said, we will jump into the game proper. All right, so we're into the game now. I won the lieutenant role and decided to take turn order, taking first turn, because Decapitation, you have a small advantage, not advantage, but you have a small silver lining if you go second, in that you can place your designated target and your lieutenant a little more intelligently, but overall you should pretty much always be going first if you get the lieutenant role, unless you're playing some kind of weird ARO list or something like that, just because there's really nothing to do other than kill your opponent and stuff. So going first is a big boon for that. I have not played Decapitation many times. This might have been the first time I played it or the second, something like that. So I'm still at the time of this game working on a strategy, a template that I can use in future games that I like. So we're testing some stuff out here. So on the left hand side, I have my Gaurel with Spitfire Triad. So him, the Kumatail, and the McCall. You can see the Kumatail and the McCall kind of prone in the back on my far left flank, while the Gaurel is more forward because of the forward deployment for ITS Season 10. I also have a couple Chaxa that are just watching my back and stuff for any kind of airborne deployment or anything, because that's very popular in direct action missions. You can just slap a guy with a boarding shotgun in your list, and if your opponent deploys even slightly badly, then you can go on a pretty good rampage with a model like that. So I don't want that kind of thing to happen. More towards the center, I have a Quarry Sentinel that you can see. He's also prone. He kind of operates like a fifth Chaxa in this list. He is good at defending you from airborne deployment and stuff like that. And then if you're playing, like Shezvasti or Hack Slam, something like that, that has impersonation. He's really good against that stuff, but mostly I just use him as a guy with some temple weapons that can help out against people that are coming to get me. And then his MSV1 is useful sometimes if you're playing against Ariadna or something like that. My designated target is pretty much wide out in the open. You can see it at the top of the picture there. She's just, I didn't really have a good place to deploy her. That's one of the things that I don't like about Decapitation is the table can be super impactful on who wins. If you're playing the mission out there, I would definitely recommend that if you win the lieutenant role, measure the deployment zones before you choose turn order or anything like that, because if you can give your opponent a side where they have nowhere good to hide their designated target and you can hide yours really well, that is a huge advantage, and that's worth foregoing first turn for. But in this case, I didn't have anywhere to hide the designated target. She's going to have tons of angles of approach no matter where I place her. So I just kind of decided to throw her out in the open. She's definitely going to die, and we'll just see how that goes. More towards the middle here, middle and like on my right hand side. So I have the Corel Preceptor in the middle, and then I have a Kael'tar who is in a triad with the sniper up on the building there, and then the other Kael'tar who is being proxied by a Kosul boarding engineer or whatever they're called, who is prone. So I wanted the one Kael'tar to be on the side just to protect it a little bit more. Kind of forgetting that you don't go into Loss of Lieutenant in this mission. Again, as I said, I wasn't very familiar with Decapitation when we're playing this game. And then the sniper is just in a pretty dominating position. I will mention that we did not play the objective room that you can see in the picture as an objective room, so it's not infinitely tall. We just played it as though it had a roof so that the sniper can't see into it and things like that. But otherwise, it's just a pretty normal piece of terrain. On the right there by the triad, I also have my Rasail and her Chaxa. Didn't deploy the Rasail as defensively as you can, just because she's still a really good business model as far as like killing and stuff like that. So I just wanted to have her in somewhat of a safe place, but also in a place where I can use her if I need to, and then she can also run away easily if I need her to. So that was kind of the idea there. Towards the bottom of the picture, we have the Kamel Triad. They're pretty much just in the list for like smoke support and some spare specialists and things like that, which doesn't matter in this mission. So they're just hiding out, ready to go wherever I need them if I need them to actually do anything. And then this is going to be the last picture, so you can see I just have two more Chaxas. Watching some of the angles that a drop trooper might drop in on. So they're just deployed there to keep them safe and keep my backline safe as well. And then this is just going to be general overview of the table with everything that I have deployed. Dylan's starting to deploy, so you can get more of an idea of where everything is relative to each other. All right, so we'll go over to Dylan's side. The designated target is going to be, I don't even know what that model is, but it's the thing on the left-hand side of the picture. So his is also pretty much in the open. Going to be very hard for either of us to keep our designated target alive with this way we've deployed them, so the game is going to come down a lot more to lieutenant kills and army points than it might ordinarily. We also have a Moran with his crazy koalas, and then there's another Moran that's somewhere, I don't know if it's in this picture, but you can see the crazy koalas up by the room there, and then just behind that big crate. So definitely going to have to navigate through those. Crazy Koala is super good for defending a designated target in this kind of mission. That's just something I have to deal with, but good choice on Dylan to put those in his list. Over here, we can see that there's a Jaguar just hiding out behind the building. Usually, Jaguar would be around like a camo token or something that would be an intruder so that they can throw smoke and the intruder can use MSV2, but that's not the case in this deployment. He's just kind of hanging out by himself. We also have some Rems in the back there. The red one is going to be Flash Pulse, and then the unpainted one is going to be the Smart Missile Launcher one, if I'm not mistaken. You can also see Pywell just hiding out in the crook of that little building there, and then I believe we have another Flash Pulse bot on the top right-hand corner, if I'm not mistaken. Continuing on, you can see the Flash Pulse bot and Pywell a little bit better. There is a Morlock prone behind a crate, ready to just come up and do Morlock stuff. Zoe is on top of the building next to a TR bot. So if I do manage to get rid of the TR bot, I'm going to have to fully destroy it because otherwise Zoe's just going to repair it, which is annoying. We have 2 camo tokens, one prone, one not prone, on the back building there, along with a Puppet Master mine layer. So obviously the standing one is a mine. And then we have another Morlock and Merry Problems just behind the crate on my left-hand side there. So that's pretty much all of Dylan's deployment, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so that's the end of deployment. So for data trackers, I picked the Corel Preceptor as mine. That's usually my go-to choice. He's 6'4" movement, which helps a lot. Not the best gunfighter or anything, but I'm more concerned about his ability to get to where the designated target is rather than being able to shoot it particularly well, because it's not like shooting a designated target is that difficult. And then Dylan picks Merry Problems just because she's deployed really close to my designated target, and I don't really have much way to defend it all that much, so she's going to be able to get rid of it pretty easily. I guess I didn't get a photo of this, but my hold model was the Liberto mine layer, so I just put the mine down near the designated target and then the Liberto kind of on the other side there. I don't remember what Dylan's hold model was. It was on Monday that I played this game, so it's been a couple days now. But everything is down as far as I know, so nothing too crazy there. 3, 2, 1, mark. All right, so now we're going to get into the game, the actual game here. So I'm going first, and Dylan uses a command token to reduce, I believe, my group 1 by 2 orders. Pretty standard there. So just going to be looking on my first turn to try to strip some orders away from Dylan. I'm not particularly worried about my Resale, which you can see her down here, because the only thing that's on the left-hand side of the table are the Morans. So there's like one Moran here, and the other one's like off over here or something like that. And they're not really equipped to deal with a Resale in a firefight, especially because I'm going to put her in suppressive. So I'm not too worried about anything bad happening to my lieutenant. I just want to soften up Dylan's army a little bit, and then we'll kind of see how the game takes us there. So to that end, I give some orders to the Corel Preceptor. He just shuffles around a little bit, shuffles around a little bit, and then just tries to throw a smoke grenade that the Gaurel sniper can do. Takes him a few tries, I think 3 orders, something like that, because the dice just aren't making it happen for me, but then I eventually get the smoke down. This is where I make a mistake, so it's correct to use the smoke to deal with the TR bot. That's the easiest way that you can deal with them. Almost every faction has access to MSV2 and smoke grenades, so you can do that and put them on 5s or worse most of the time. So that's what I'm deciding to do, but I'm using the sniper instead of the Spitfire. So I'm foregoing 2 shots and the ability to get a little bit closer, which might put it on 2s or something like that, depending on how close I get. So not a good idea there. And then, as you can see in the picture, it takes me quite a few orders. I believe it was 5 orders to completely destroy the TR bot. So the first couple face-to-face rolls, I think Dylan wins the first one. I have to use the Symbiont, just rolled poorly. And then the second one, he's making a lot of arm rolls. So even though I managed to get it unconscious, I keep shooting it so that Zoe can't pick it back up, but it's just passing all the arm rolls. And that's where the lack of burst really hurt me. So I ended up wasting quite a bit of my orders. I only have 8 in group 1 because 2 of them got stripped, and I had to use 5 of them just killing 1 TR bot. So not a good way to start the game. Should have definitely used the Spitfire, gotten a little bit closer, and then the extra burst probably would have gotten that done in 1 or 2 orders, depending on how the dice went. And then I would have also developed that triad a little bit more and could have done something like go after Merry Problems or something like that. That was my intention. I was hoping that I could just get the sniper to take out the TR bot because it was here, so it's watching down this alley, so I don't want to just be taking shots from it or anything. But I should have moved the Corel Preceptor over, thrown the smoke for the Gaurel, used with the Spitfire, used him to take out the TR bot, and then gone that way. So if I'd done that correctly, I could have probably taken out Merry Problems, which would have been a big boon on the mission. just because eliminating the data tracker makes it so that if they kill your designated target, they only get 2 points instead of 5, which is quite a big deal. So definitely not starting the game off on a good foot there. Going over here, I realized that I don't have too many orders left, so I can't range out very far because then I cannot pull back safely, which is what I like to do, and I think that's a good playstyle for Tohaa. So I just give a couple orders to the Spitfire. He's just gonna move out like so, and then there was a Flash Pulse Rem here, get into a face-to-face with it, manage to win, put it unconscious, give him another order, move back to where he started for safety, shoot as I go, manage to completely destroy the Flash Pulse bot there. So not as much damage as I was hoping to do on the first turn, but I do have 2 of the remotes down and they are fully destroyed, so no engineer is going to bring them back or anything like that. Use the regular order on the Liberto. I'm proxying with a Quarry because the Liberto is not available for purchase yet unless you bought the new book, which I did not. So I just move him over. And then I believe there was a crazy koala that I forgot about, like right here or somewhere, like very close, that, runs and jumps on him. Managed to pass the armor roll somehow, so the Liberto is okay, and I've gotten a crazy koala down, so definitely something I should have been paying more attention to as where they were before I was moving, but, sometimes better lucky than good. And then I believe I just give him another order, or I can't remember if I gave him another order or if I just used the rest of the first order, but just put down another camo token there. Crucially, do not put the Liberto prone, which means that he can be seen over that box because it's not taller than a Silhouette 2 model. So should have definitely done that because now somebody can come and shoot the Liberto pretty easily, and he has his back turned to the box so that he can keep things in front of him on the approach angles. So just a brain fart there, not to put him prone, but did manage to just drop the mine there. The reason for that was so that the Morlock that's up here behind the crate is going to have to run towards the Liberto, and I was hoping to get him hit with the mine. Just forgot to put the Liberto prone to make that an actual solid play. And then with just the rest of the orders, just moving some stuff around a little bit here. So you can see I'm moving the Corral, who's proxied by a Kumatail for this game, just around a little bit so I can get it closer to where the Spitfire is, because I anticipate that model will need the smoke more than the Sniper will moving forward. So I just kind of want to get him to an appreciable spot there. And then the Serta Beast is just looking at a little bit here, not really threatening anything, but he dodges pretty well and stuff like that. So hoping that I can maybe just slow Dylan down a little bit if he does decide to march at me that way. Use the Lieutenant order to throw the Rasail into Suppressive Fire after using one order on her just to move up a little bit. Mostly I wanted to move her Chax up a bit. So the plan is I have the Chaxa prone. I don't think anything's going to come fight it or anything like that. But next turn, because it has 6/4 movement, I want to use it to trigger all of the crazy koalas if I can. So I'm just going to throw it away, but I want to get rid of all the crazy koalas because then all that's going to be defending the designated target on Dylan's side is 2 Morans who are not ridiculous gunfighters. They're fine, but they're not going to hold off any kind of concerted effort from me or anything like that. So that was kind of the plan moving forward there. And then again, just moving some stuff. So I'm okay with where the Spitfire is, but I just wanted to move the Doctor and the McCall a little bit. So the McCall gets into safety, but I don't actually have enough movement after moving forward a bit to put the Kumatail back behind like a crate or a wall or something. So she's a little bit exposed, but I'm just hoping nothing is going to round the corner and really make a go at her. Okay, so this is going to be Dylan's turn 1, Nomad's turn 1. So start with the Morlock, stands up, runs out from behind the crate, and then my mind goes off, of course. I choose to dodge with the Liberto because the Morlock does run into line of fire of it, so I do get an ARO there, thinking that he's either going to try to dodge the mine, which is fine, because then, if he wants to activate the Morlock some more, then we can just chain rifle each other or something, so that's not a big deal. Or if he decides to eat the mine and go for the Liberto with his chain rifle, then I want to try to be able to dodge on that because Liberto are very good at dodging with hyperdynamics too. So the Morlock moves out, eats the mine, tries to chain rifle me. I fail the dodge, but pass the arm roll, so the Liberto is okay, and then the Morlock dies to the mine. So I didn't like this play all that much. there's really not that much point in killing the Liberto. It's not doing all that much for me. I've already used 2 out of its 3 mines. It's not like a super strong offensive piece or anything. It's not on the side that Dylan is going to probably approach my designated target from, which is a mistake on my part. So if it were me, I would have just tried to dodge the mine, which is, I believe, a 50-50. I think Morlocks have physical 13. And then if it fails it, then you have I think a 40% or something around that to survive the mine. So the odds are not that bad when you start adding them up. And then the Morlock, probably wasn't going to do very much. So it can either just stand there and be annoying or try to do something else. So just something that I would have done instead of what actually happened. The other Morlock moves forward. And then my other mine triggers, the one that I placed during deployment. And I believe the Morlock just chooses to dodge this time, makes the dodge, so nothing happens to it. It's just hanging out. Mary Problems gets a couple orders, walks up, peeks out, sees the designated target, shoots her with the submachine gun, easily kills her. So that's 5 points to Dylan for getting my designated target with his data tracker, as expected. A couple more orders go into the Morlock that did survive. And Dylan just starts moving it, down here. Not exactly sure what he's trying to do. I can't see it with anybody just yet. But if he tries to fisticuffs the Gaurel, then I'm going to get an arrow with the Kumatail and the Gaurel itself. So I'm not too worried about that. Plus, I have a Symbiomate and all that kind of good stuff. I have a doctor right there. So even if he does dedicate all the orders necessary to put down the Gaurel, if he doesn't fully kill it, I can maybe get it back up, stuff like that. And then if he's going to try to chain rifle, then I'm going to break the triad because the Gaurel is going to shoot and just eat the chain rifle, whereas the doctor is going to try to dodge and not die, as I'm so fond of just getting her killed. So what ends up happening is another order. The Morlock just walks into melee with the Gaurel. I arrow with my pistol for the extra pluses because the damage isn't different enough for me to want the 0 band instead of the +3 band. So I use the pistol, and then the Kumatail uses the combi rifle. So at this point, Dylan makes a little bit of a misplay. So I have to commit to my arrows before I know what the Morlock is going to do. And I've just responded with pure offense. So what the Morlock should have done is just chain rifled the Gaurel and the Kumatail, because he really, or not the Kumatail, yeah, I think it's the Kumatail, the doctor. And so the doctor would likely die because they only have armor 1. So I have a 40% chance to pass arm or something like that. Whereas the Gaurel will just take it on the Symbiomate. And then, maybe the Morlock dies or something, but it did what it was supposed to do. Instead, it just decides to close combat. So I have a free shot before he gets into melee with the Kumatail, and then I'm in a face-to-face with the pistol. Managed to do a wound with the Kumatail, lose the face-to-face with the Gaurel, so I burn the Symbiomate there, but the Morlock goes unconscious. So definitely lost the Symbiomate, but could have been more damage if Dylan had been a little bit more heads up on the choice that he made with what to do with his offensive action. Going over here, I believe a coordinated order comes down where both Morans go into suppressive fire. So again, just trying to throw some obstacles in my way to not be able to get to his designated target. The crazy quals also move a little bit, so you can see that one's a little bit more forward, that kind of thing. So I believe he's just trying to spread them out to make it so that I can't trigger them all at once, but I definitely still can if I just move with the Chaksa because he's so fast. So that's still the plan there. Also, crucially, didn't throw anything else into suppressive fire with that order, so I believe Mary Problems could have been in there. Some of the other models, I don't remember the combat groups exactly. I know I showed them before the video, but still, there's really no reason to not throw these other models into suppressive if that's what you're doing, unless you have something else to do with them. They didn't do anything else in the rest of the turn, so just a little bit of wasted potential there on Nomad's part. So now we start landing some Hellcats. The first one comes in with a boarding shotgun. Pretty much just lands down here or something where no one can see it. Manages to stick the landing after one of the hackers does the assisted landing thing, so they get +3 physique. definitely some good synergy there. And then it gets another order and then just moves over to stay in cover, but see my Rasail. So the Rasail is in suppressive fire, and I also have a Kael'tar specialist that Dylan cannot slice the pie on. So he either sees neither of them or both of them at the same time, which is what I intended. So this is a terrible fight if you're the Nomad player. It looks okay on first glance because if you have the boarding shotgun, that's going to cancel out the suppressive fire and cover mod because I have nano screen, so I always have cover, which I think puts them on 12s or something on 2 shots. I'll be on 9s with the Rasail on 3 shots because I'm 0 band for suppressive, and then he has cover. So that's more equal than it looks just because of the extra burst on my part. But then I also have the Kael'tar, who I can either Flash Pulse with, which I did, or Light Shotgun with, and then that's either going to cause Dylan to split burst, which with the shotgun is not what you want to be doing, or I just get free shots. So either way, not that great of a fight. To make matters worse, we're just like a half an inch or maybe less outside of 8. So the boarding shotgun is actually on 0 band, which is now a disaster because now the Hellcat is on 6s instead of being on 12s. So my Rasail is way advantaged just by itself, and then the Kael'tar there just makes things even worse. So I guess I didn't get a picture of it, but the Rasail manages to win the face-to-face roll. Both shots from the boarding shotgun go into it, and then the Hellcat just melts. So free pickup for me there, which was nice. And I believe that was the last thing that happened on Dylan's turn, because then we go into my turn too. Sorry, like I said, it's been a few days since I played this game, so some of it's coming back to me. I decide that I just need to make a run for the designated target while I still can. So use the Chaxa, like I said, to move and pick them up. I did have to move twice to do so because they were spread out fairly well. Also, one of them was within 8 inches of both the Rasail and the Chaxa, so that one chose to run and explode on the Rasail instead. I just took the armor roll, failed it, so I still have my Symbiont mate, but I'm only 1 wound left on my Symbiont profile. The Chaxa, of course, gets horribly murdered because it can't dodge or anything like that, but I do manage to clear all the crazy quals out. Once that's done, I just start pumping orders into the Corel Preceptor. So I throw a smoke here as I'm crossing because I don't want to get Flash Pulse spotted as I'm going, because that would be a disaster, obviously, if I get blinded. And then I just move on over here. So what happens is the Corel is like here or something, and then shoots the designated target, manages to kill it. At the same time, I send the Certabeast to go and just try to claw up a Moran really quick, because I don't really have that much for the Certabeast to do, so you might as well try to pick up a kill or something. And then since the Moran is in suppressive fire, I don't want to get into like a gunfight with it or anything like that. So the Certabeast manages to run out of the smoke and get the Moran killed with his viral close combat weapon, but he does get blinded in the process by the flash remote, as you can see with the token there. And then I think pretty much like the last order I have in that group, I just decide to throw the Corel into suppressive fire so that if the Moran decides to come around and have a go at me, we're on pretty much even odds, other than like his mimetism and stuff. I don't really care what happens to the Corel at this point anymore. Having the smoke is useful, but there's not any really like oppressive gunfighters on Dylan's side, so I don't feel like I need that. Actually, I don't feel like I absolutely have to have that -6 penalty from the smoke to win any fights or anything like that. Go over here, just slap the Rasail back into suppressive fire, and you can see that it took a wound. Nothing too crazy there. The Certabeast goes unconscious from, I believe, the order where I put the Corel into suppressive fire. Obviously, that triggers arrows. So the Moran that was in suppressive fire could see the Certabeast and just shot it. I did not put it into Dogged because I don't have any more orders to give the Corel, so I'm not going to go template anything or anything like that. And then if I really want to, I can try to come pick it up with the Kumatail, but that's probably not going to happen. Over here, I finally prone the Liberto and then have him place his third and final mine where the other one was. This mine's probably not going to do very much, but if the Moran decides to try to come over, since I have the designated target killed, he'll have to contend with that. If Pywell tries to come out, he'll have to contend with that. So it's more of a deterrent mine than anything else. And then now I have pretty much my full group of orders in group 1, since it's not the first turn anymore, and I didn't lose anybody from there. So the Spitfire Triad just starts moving out with the goal being to kill the Lieutenant. So the Lieutenant is the prone camo token that's on the building on my left-hand side. Forgot to say that earlier. So I know where it is. I just have to get over there and discover him and all that kind of stuff. So we start moving up. I get into a face-to-face with Mary Problems, who was like right here, so I'm just like poking out and poking back a little bit just in case anything goes wrong. Managed to kill her because she was not in suppressive fire, so she's easy pickings for my burst 5 Spitfire even at 0 band, so she goes down. And then I managed to get over to the building and have a little bit of a couple mental gaffes here. So one, I discover the standing camo token, which somewhere in my brain I knew was a mine, but I just forgotten during the course of play. So I managed to discover it. It is indeed a mine, so I can't shoot it or anything because now it's size 0. So we just keep moving, and I have the McCall and the Gaurel both climb the ladder. So the Gaurel goes up first in order to eat the mine. So I climb up with him. Mine goes off. I take a wound, go Symbiont inactive. Not a big deal. And then manage to discover the Lieutenant, as you can see there. So then another order, bring the McCall up, walk into base-to-base contact, and then put the Gaurel in there as well, so I can get 2 attacks instead of 1. The Lieutenant just arrows with the combi rifle or whatever it has, because there was a little bit before I was actually in melee with it. Didn't really feel the need to put an Eclipse down or anything to walk into melee, just because I have 2 swings and all that kind of stuff. So the fight's really in my favor, but I could have done that to be extra safe. I just didn't feel like it was worth it at this point. So managed to kill the Lieutenant, not with the first roll. I believe we both crit on the first face-to-face. So the combi rifle gets a crit, and then I roll really high on my CC, and then because I have CC 22, managed to crit as well. So with another order, now I'm firmly in CC with the Lieutenant, so he has to use the pistol or something, and it gets completely outclassed, and he gets melted. So 1 Lieutenant kill to 0 for me. And then using just some more orders, I figure why not try to kill the Puppet Master here. So the Gaurel goes over, just shoots him at 0 range with the Spitfire. The Puppet Master chooses to lay a mine, and then is killed for his trouble, as you can see with the unconscious token there. Okay, so that's gonna be my turn 2. So going into Dylan's turn 2, another Hellcat comes in, this time with a Spitfire. So he drops pretty much exactly where you can see him in the picture, not in line of fire of the Corel Preceptor. Instead, Dylan starts giving orders to the Moran, just coming around and having a gunfight instead of using the Hellcat. So I am 0 because I'm in suppressive fire. I'll be -3 from mimetism and -3 for cover. So I'd be 3 shots on 5s against 3 shots on I think 6s, because -3 for cover and -3 for suppressive. So I instead choose to dodge, which is probably a smoke dodge, which is probably not the best idea. I probably should. The dice is pretty even on the suppressive fire, so I probably should have taken that instead. But in the moment, I just decided to smoke dodge instead. Fail that one. Lose the Symbiont mate. Another face-to-face roll. Go Symbiont inactive, as you can see there. So while I'm losing these, I'm at least making Dylan use orders on things that I don't care about. Like I said, I don't care if the Corel Preceptor lives or dies at this point. He already did his job. Eventually, the Moran manages to finish the Corel off, so he's gone, and the Certibus goes disconnected. And then the Hellcat comes down over here to have a go at the Rasay Lieutenant. So this guy is better than the boarding shotgun was, because he's going to be fighting at good range. So he's pretty much only going to be -3 overall, plus for range, minus for cover, minus for suppressive, whereas I'll be on 9s myself. So we're both on 9s, but he has 4 shots to my 3 shots if I'm doing all these mods correctly and stuff in my head very quickly. So still not a great fight, but better because he has a slight advantage with the burst. Here's just another angle at it. And then what I believe happens here is I get a crit with the viral, or I win the face-to-face roll otherwise, and then the Hellcat just gets melted again. So at this point, one of the Morans is dead. Both the Hellcats are dead. There's only one Moran left on this side of the table. Everything else is either on the other side of the table or also dead. So almost impossible for my Rasail to take any further damage here, which is putting me firmly ahead in the game. So that's pretty much it for Dylan's turn. They spent a lot of orders killing the Corral and then moving the Hellcat around and all that kind of stuff. Already short on orders because I killed a lot during my last turn. So I think with the last order on his turn, just moves the one of the Rems up and takes a look at my my Galrail sniper, who shoots it and manages to kill it because it has no cover. I'm in good range band. It's at bad range. I have cover, all that kind of stuff. So it's just a disastrous fight for that thing. But at this point, the game is pretty much over just because there's only a couple Rems left, Zoe and Pywell, and then a Moran, and that's pretty much it. And there's no way for Dylan to get to my lieutenant or anything. So I'm not really particularly worried about that. So at this point, we're kind of just playing for fun a little bit. So that happens. My turn comes around. I just look at the board, decide that it's time for the Rasail to just run away and hide. So she does exactly that. As you can see, just bunkering up in somewhere that it is absolutely impossible for Dylan to get to. He would have to walk through countless arrows and all kinds of stuff and then still deal with the suppressive fire Rasail, who has a Symbiont mate left and 2 wounds overall, so there's no way anything's going to happen to her. And then I pretty much just, for fun, shoot the Rem some more just to completely destroy it instead of having its corpse there, because I really don't have anything else to do with my orders. And then in group 2, I decide to move the Liberto, so he starts hoofing it through the middle. There's nothing to ARO him because everything's either dead or prone, something like that. Managed to get about here, and the Moran sees me, something like that, because I came around like this way or something. And then I decide to shoot with the shotgun, even though I'm definitely in 0 range, and it has mimetism and all that kind of fun stuff. He shoots back, not in suppressive, didn't have an order to put the Moran back into suppressive after dealing with the Corral. So I lose that, go dogged, and then I just move the Liberto forward some more. The Moran shoots again. I use the Chain Cult, and then manage to survive the face-to-face and put the Moran unconscious. So the Liberto dies at the end of the turn from going dogged, but I've also eliminated the Moran, which was really the only possible model that Dylan could have used to even get to the Rasail with. So this is the last turn of the game. Nomad's turn 3. Pywell finally comes out from his hiding place there. Sorry, it's not in focus. And then gets into a face-to-face with my sniper, who easily puts him unconscious. And then at that point, we call the game because all that's left alive is, I think, one of the remotes and Zoe. And there's not nearly enough orders to come over and try to get my Rasail or anything like that. I'm way up on army points. It's not even close. So the game ends with a 10-5 major victory for me. Like I said, pretty one-sided game, but there were some very big reasons for that I'm going to talk about in the post-game video. So go ahead and watch that if you are interested. Otherwise, just some quick thoughts. I definitely did not deploy particularly well in numerous spots. One was not creating a bunker where all my army is on one side. One was I didn't put the designated target anywhere particularly well. And then some other movement things with like not putting the Liberto prone, not playing my first turn very well at all, wasting a ton of orders and getting very little done when I could have probably killed Mary Problems and things like that and been a little bit more aggressive. Some of that stuff I was just chalking up to getting the mission underneath me. So hopefully we'll do better in the future. Some of them were just like, little brain fart things that are certainly worrisome, but, something I can correct and not mistakes I usually make. Whereas a lot of Dylan's mistakes are a little bit harder to identify, particularly when talking about why the game went so poorly after I had a bad first turn. So normally, if I had a bad first turn, I would expect to be in a disadvantaged state because I've already used a turn. I didn't get very much done. My opponent has all 3 of their turns left, but the game didn't go that way. It very quickly swung very hard into my favor, and that's what I'll talk about. Not only what happened, but what could have been done differently to avoid that. So if you're interested in that, take a look at the other video I'll be making. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, as always.